I think everybody has their own addictions in their own small ways, whether big or small, fast or liquid. There's more people here than I would have expected on a work day in the middle of the week. This right here, this Red Bull, is a form of caffeine. It's a highly marketed, highly sought after, highly addictive substance that I found myself unable to kick for many years now. Now, this is just my opinion, but I think it's unfortunate that it's become such a staple in our society. I mean, like coffee, Red Bull, like these are all things that have become like entirely normalized. It's like things that people just drink on their way to work. And while yes, it's relatively harmless, it's still something that I've found myself abusing in the past. I mean, I used to drink like 600, 700, 800 milligrams of caffeine a day, dude. Like, it was bad. I've got myself down to a nice and reasonable 300, but like, once you build yourself up to those levels, it's really hard to come back down from this stuff. Let's get you out of here. Throw away, you proppers, that way you end up in a landfill anyway. Well, I thought I'd at least walk back here so you guys could see what I'm talking about. Well, here it is. You seen it? Alright, we're good. Let's go. TikTok, I know sometimes can have the subtlety of a thumbtack, and it's really hard to get into complex issues on that platform. I want to put a little bit of trust in my YouTube audience to have a little bit more grace when it comes to this subject, but that's fine. For the purposes of this video staying up and live, we're going to have to get a little bit theoretical with this discussion. The problem with addictions is they always kind of start as innocent. You try something for the first time and it's like, oh, like I'm not gonna get addicted to this, it's fine. Kind of like motorcycles. You hop on a motorcycle for the first time, I didn't think it was anything crazy. I went to my first track day. I mean, that's a very recent example that was televised. You guys got to see that live. Like, I was like, oh, track days, whatever. Now I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm missing it so much. That's how they start, dude. You're like, oh, it's nothing crazy, but somehow, in some way, you hit a bad day. You hit a day where you're lacking a little bit of that dopamine, and suddenly you think that that's going to be the solution. You think that that's going to fill the hole. Wheelies were theoretically legalized in Ohio August 7th, 2023. Something I voted for. Jesus Christ, what is this light waiting on? There we go. I don't think I need to really dive into exactly what I'm trying to talk about here, but I think it's kind of implied. The idea that something is legal kind of helps you trick your brain into thinking, like, oh, this isn't going to hurt me, but yet you can easily write that off with countless examples. There's a lot of things that are legal and have been legal for decades that can very much hurt you. That's not really a good way of telling or knowing if something's going to hurt you or not. I mean, I get how it works for some people. I really do. I think with the active depression that I was dealing with last year, whether I wanted to admit it to myself or not, I'd let myself become hold of the feeling of wanting to be numb. And wheelies, they had a really good way of doing that, let me tell you. There's a lot of things in this world that you can just use to kind of numb yourself a little bit. What's up, Ant? And that was just one of my ways of running from emotion rather than just kind of feeling what you have to feel. You know, you hear these stories, these little Disney stories of like the protagonist like running from the things he has to face. And well, yeah, it can be like a physical thing sometimes. Like sometimes you run from confrontation. Sometimes it can be emotional things that you run from. There's a lot of pent-up emotion that, like, if you run from it, it just compounds on itself, and eventually you're gonna face it. It's gonna be 10 times worse. I had that moment when I was out in California last winter. I was out there just trying to film motorcycle videos to kind of keep the page going, and I found myself so depressed I couldn't even get out of bed. And that was kind of a wake-up call for me. I was like, you know, the things I'm doing, they're not working. I mean, like, the page was doing fine. Life in every measurable way was going fine, but just my spirit was done. The problem is I had somebody in my life now, at that point in time, I had somebody in my life that I've figured made life worth living. That was Eve. I met Eve sometime in November. It was that realization moment when I was out in California that I missed them a lot, and something had to change. And so it was from that point on, I've been living my life sober. I don't drink. I don't do anything more than anything, which is weird, I guess, in today's society, considering everybody I know, you know, has a little bit of a drink sometimes. I don't have anything, not even like a single little. I don't allow myself to have any sort of leeway with that stuff anymore, because I know my personality type. I'm the type that like tries it and is like, oh, I don't know when to stop, it's too much. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not tempted by it again, though. That's the unfortunate thing. I'll never be the same. It'll eat at me every single day to the day I finally leave this planet. I have no idea where I am right now. There's nothing out here. This is awesome. Addiction is by far the worst thing eating away at my generation. I don't know a single one of my friends that doesn't have something going on in their lives. Sports betting being one of the worst offenders, in my opinion. I have a little group chat with some of my buddies, and I'm going to call them out here for a little bit. I'm not going to say names, but like, every single time they post their little sports bet winning. I'm like, bro, show your all-time, show your all-time winnings, you know, let's see how it stacks up. And they never do it. You know why? It's because they're probably losing. That's one thing I've never understood, but in a way I do. You get hooked on that one little win and you're like, oh my God, I need it now. It's easy for someone to look outside in and be like, bro, like, just stop doing whatever you're doing. You know, stop hitting the little wheelies, you know? Quit chasing the dopamine. Take control of your own actions, take accountability, and like, that's it. Wow, this is sick over here, bro. I've never been over here before. This is why it's not hard to find areas with nobody else around them to kind of have your fun. Between this and a crowded freeway, I'm taking this all day, baby. Oh, it feels so good to have the leaves back on the trees, dude. It's like I can get lost in nature again without having everywhere I go be like this empty pit of nothing. Finally breathe air again and have it feel fresh. Really good for curing the senses. Addiction, at least from my perspective and my own personal struggle with it, has always just been like, it's a way to fill some level of gap. I think that's probably something that people say, it's like a relatively popular thing to say, or maybe some form of it, but regardless, that's how it's felt for me. You know, with the wheelies, you know, the stuff that we're talking about here. For me, it started over the summer. I was dating somebody who did it themselves, and that was kind of my first introduction to it. I was dating someone who did it on the regular, and so it kind of normalized it for me. I was exposed to it pretty reasonably frequently. First time I tried it, I was like, dude, wheelies suck. I hate wheelies. I didn't think I would ever like it. And that's how it slowly started to encapsulate me. I had one bad day, and I started trying it on my own. And then I started doing it more. And all of a sudden, I found myself relying on it whenever I'm hanging out with my friends. I started carrying it with me everywhere I went. I thought I needed it to be funny. I thought I needed it to be myself. I thought I needed it to ignore the things that I had going on in my head to finally... I thought if I just ignored things long enough, it would just go away. I don't think it's hard to, like, go out there and get a date. That's not, you know, I think it's pretty reasonably easy to talk to women. I get, like, the jokes online, like, haha, women are scary, but, like, actually, in reality, like, they're not that scary. The problem for me is I was constantly running into people that just didn't match me. I'm not blaming anybody else but myself. You fall too hard for the wrong people. I just thank Christ that I met Eve when I did. Oh, I've been to this Chipotle before. I know where we are. You know what? Now would be a really good time to get Chipotle. Not like I just wasn't here like a couple of videos ago. Like this exact Chipotle. I mean, like we get Chipotle every video, but like, y'all know what I mean. Please sponsor me. I'm on my knees, please. Something I wanted to say, but I had to use the mask of the engine noise so I could be able to say it. As I was finishing up my scrumptious meal, there was a guy who walked out. He works at the Chipotle. And he came out and he started having a smoke break right next to me while I was eating. And my initial reaction, I'm like, I'm a little bit frustrated. I'm like, I'm trying to eat. I'm not trying to smell that. And then the smell hit my nostrils and it immediately took me back to everybody I've ever known who smoked too. It's like, it's usually not done out of choice. And just there's a million of them on the ground right here too, dude. To be quite truthful with you there, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I started smelling it. It started smelling nice. I'm like, it started making me feel warm. I'm like, oh, this stuff kind of smells nice. It smells good. And then the thought entered my brain, I'm like, maybe I should start smoking. Maybe that'll be my next thing. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, why? Like, what? Why would that even enter my brain? And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for Eve, if I didn't have these thoughts of like, I have to become better, I have to, you know, move forward, I don't know if I'd have the strength to resist it. It's a stupid thought.
Well, my dudes, I can hear you say, what might be some of your solutions to addiction? You've been talking a lot about it. I'm probably not the best person to ask here, dude.
You're asking me, how do I deal with addiction? And how do I deal with the resistance to it? And how do I deal with overcoming that? I don't know. I don't. I have a couple of words of advice of things that have personally helped me and like kept me on straight and kept me going. First and foremost being the gym. Working out, you know, getting the huge muscles, you know, the legs could probably use a little bit of work, but I'm doing cardio, you know. Picking up a new hobby, like running. Like running was such an easy hobby for me to pick up and has been so beneficial to my mental health. Having goals of physical fitness helps keep you away from addictions, because a lot of addictions can destroy your body and your mind. And so long as you have goals like getting a six-pack or running a 8-minute mile or whatever goal that you have in mind, getting away from addictions will help you get to that goal. And so that helps you. Basically, if it messes with the way I look, if it messes with my little six-pack I got going on, I'm not about it. I'm not going to even get into it in the first place. Well, I'm going to at least try to. It helps build a resistance to whatever you're trying to get away from. Now, the source of the problem for me and likely a lot of other people was just becoming disillusioned with the fact that there's going to be a tomorrow. That you do actually have to wake up and go to work or go to school or whatever you have to do the next day. You're gonna have to do it. The likelihood of you not having to do that stuff is extremely low. So it's best to kind of just be a man, be a woman, and get over it, and understand that life isn't hopeless, and that the more that you hold on to bad habits, the harder that thing that you're going to have to do the next day, the harder it is that thing is going to be. Surround yourself with like-minded people. People that don't go out drinking to a bar every night, that don't spend their money on stupid things. Instead, fill their days and weeks with goals. Things that they're working towards, things that are productive. I'm not talking about people that are obsessed with stocks. I'm not talking about people that spend each of their waking lives checking their crypto portfolio. I'm just talking about people that just have other aspirations other than just numbers or addictions, which is something I'm still struggling with. I can't seem to find. Getting my friends to come out and ride this year has been hard, man. I miss the days when we were, a tad bit younger. It was a lot easier to get my friends to come out and ride, go on these insanely long adventures, because we didn't know how hard it would suck to be out in the middle of nowhere when it's 45 degrees out and you still have a 2-hour ride home. Yeah, it sucks, but those were the good times. Sometimes knowing less is better and happier. We're not so worried about ending up in the middle of nowhere with your phone dead and no way to get home. You have a much better time when you just go out and mindlessly ride. No, instead, everyone thinks so hard about it, and it's like we have to ride to the same 5 places or else we can't come out. I guess it should also go without saying that motorcycles are a pretty good way of keeping you, away from any addictions. Let me just check this out. Oh man, dumb, stupid little machine. Motorcycles are pretty expensive, and so they kind of tie your money up into a lot of different things. You don't really have money to spend on bad things. I think somebody like my sister would probably try to argue that motorcycles are equivalent to like a bad addiction. To me personally, I think it's the most pure form of happiness and joy in the world. These people try to be like, oh, riding's bad for your mental health. No, you are bad for your mental health. You yourself are being bad to your mental health. Maybe perhaps the way that you ride is bad for your mental health, but that's not the bike's fault, dude. The bike is a tool. It depends on, if you abuse it, just like anything else, it's gonna hurt you. I stopped at a Sheetz to, I felt a little bit thirsty, and I grabbed another, Listen, I didn't really put that much thought into it. It just goes to show you how bad it is. I just went in there, I'm like, I'm kind of feeling thirsty. Yoink, pay, drink, and I'm like, I look down, I'm like, wait, I just drank a whole another 100 grams, 100 milligrams of caffeine. How stupid was that, huh? The hypocrisy is not lost on me. I understand how bad it is. This is a moment of weakness, a moment of honesty, that we could all grow and become better people because of it, right? I came to the storage unit to swap out some motorcycles, and look who decided to meet me up. How you feel? Are these the pants that you wrecked in? Why do you have a hole in the back? I should have made you wear a jacket. I was going to make that a stipulation. The plan here today is Kenny was asking our group chat if he could have a bike to ride, and I still have the MT-07. That's kind of the whole purpose of that motorcycle, is to lend it out when somebody's kind of, having a bad time right now. I was talking about addictions and, how those things kind of unfold and happen. My only rule with this bike is just treat it as your own. Don't wheelie it, please. You're still healing. Please don't.
My tailbone still.
Oh, Jesus.
I've been sitting on a donut.
Oh, Jesus. I guess we'll go down the road and see how you feel, but if you're not feeling it, please let me know. But just understand, I don't think the tires have proper air pressure, so just take it easy on corners too. I don't have an air compressor with me, so I'm just going to be on that. But meet's already started, so we got somewhere to be. Oh, hey, Kenny. That dude is so happy to be back on 2 wheels, man. It makes me very happy to fulfill there's a little interim period in between crashing and when he gets a new bike. And you should get one. They're cheap. What?
I appreciate it.
Of course. God, the Harley dude's cutting it up. The little Harley cut it up in front of the truck. It was that was crazy because it's so much mass cutting it up. Oh, it's so funny. We've made it to Ducati Cleveland bike night. Where do we park, dude? There's so many people here. Oh my God. I gotta grab this. I forgot. Back it up. Back it up. Come on, R6, start it. It's so weird going from all these different bikes and then trying to clutch control all these things. It's complicated and weird. This is gnarly, dude. All right, I'm taking my helmet off. I'm gonna walk around and kind of enjoy this for a little bit. Hello, Trey. So many friendly faces I haven't seen in months.
In honor of Jigsaw beating the allegations, I've decided to become the next Jigsaw. What do you guys think?
Horrible idea.
I gotta get the squad of people helping Traden change his windscreen. If you wanted a sense of the scale of this little bike me right here, Holy cow,
It's crazy, bro. Crazy.
dude. Look at all these people.
There's even people on the side, too.
You tell me you're calling my name up there? Of course not.
Ken!
You look so small down there.
Jeff! Jeff!
That's so scary, bro.
So I guess we're going to another bike meet. This is actually insanity out here, dude. There's so many bikes out. This is what I'm talking about. In Ohio, it's not like any other state. It's not where it's like California where it's nice all the time. Well, yes, there are more people statistically that have more bikes. What? Yeah, we're gonna go to the Quaker meet. Yeah, when people start grabbing bikes out here, they all come out, dude. It's ridiculous. Oh, God. Watch out for that pump.
I saw you almost fly up. Should I go to my own pump?
Yeah, I'm talking about. I'm not paying for you. You're on my bike.
That's what I'm saying.
That's my payment.
She's about to take my shit.
Now, normally I wouldn't mind covering you, but you, sir.
Oh, I'll take it, bro, dude. I already knew I was gonna have to pay for it. Shit. Come on now.
I've said this before. There's too many people, so me and him are just Bluetoothed. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't matter. It's too glitchy, bro. I just want to be able to talk to one person.
I'm going home now.
I don't want to talk to Jaden. Oh my God, I'm so sweaty, dude. Everything's like. Oh, that thing takes 93, by the way.
Yep, good thing I was just about to ask.
Okay, thank God. Stock MT-07s take 87, but that one's tuned, so it's tuned for 93. Yeah, let all that poor gas out. Attaboy. This is what you need right here. You get yourself one of these.
You need to find your freaking inside fairings.
Yeah, I know.
There's nothing there.
I was waiting until I got out of school and I'd be able to take care of it. But...
You can really see the highway when you wheelie on that.
Oh my God, she needs help putting the pump back. That's so cute. What would she do without Ryan? Okay, chill.
You're the one ripping. Chill. Come on, can you chill, bro? Come on.
Dude, I love this bike so much. It fills me with so much like unbelievable and undeniable joy whenever I ride it. It's so crazy. This bike is like heavier to flick over than the V4. Isn't that weird? All right, Mr. BMW's got to get out of my way. He's killing me here. I'm getting tired of looking at his ass, dude. Come on, Tim, find a parking spot. You'll be back on 2 eventually, probably soon.
Oh, real soon.
You can't go the whole summer without it. I just know you.
Oh, I know, it's bad.
Oh, we really have to go through the water? I don't want to go through that. That R1 is crazy, bro. I want one so bad. Pats. What do you mean, which one? It's the only one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wait.
I miss mine so bad.
Said he misses his.
Yeah, I heard him.
He was actually a big reason why like I fell in love with these bikes so much. I remember like that. He was like my main riding buddy for like a full year. I was on my FC09, he had an R6, and I just every time I saw his R6, I'm like, damn, it's a really good looking bike.
It's a really good looking bike.
Like if I accelerate, I was able to see the road better, and if I decelerated, then the road would disappear. So I just had to stay on it. That's awesome, dude. This is usually the part where most people are gonna throw up like a hotline or a number or something, and be like, oh, if you're struggling with so and so, make sure you call this hotline. They'll help you get yourself figured out. If you're watching this video and you're struggling with something, I'm assuming that throwing a number on the screen is not gonna help you, bro. I know it wouldn't have helped me. I wouldn't have listened to that. I wouldn't have listened to anybody. I just happened to get lucky that it's not necessarily Eve that kind of changed my mind about things. It was more or less the idea of who they are and what they mean to me. Person changing it, it's still me putting in the effort to change things to become better. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's been hard. You know, it's hard not drinking and going out with your friends to bars on weekends, bro. Like, that's what they do for fun. And throughout the winter, like, it's hard to make plans with them. At least, you know, the weather's nicer now and I can go out riding with my friends and it's a little bit easier to find solace in that. But, God, what's my point with this, bro? Just, I guess, the only person that's gonna fix your life is you. No one's coming to save you, bro. I'm sorry. No one's coming to save you. But you know what will save you is a little dope machine like this. These things have put my life in danger and saved my life more times than I can count. I'll never give it up. Anywho, my name's been Thought Taken. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.